Well, my name's Jeffrey Trey Kipper Weeks. I'm a mass comm major with a concentration in broadcasting at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. And I've been here for about 4 years now. I'm a senior currently.
I'm Zach Wagner, and I'm a senior, and my major is political science.
My name is Brandon Watkins. I've been a student here since 2011.
I feel like coursework from high school to university level work, it has probably become a lot more challenging. I have dyslexia, and that really kind of affects how well I can read, how fast I can read. And in university levels, there's a lot more reading with research and revising. There's a lot more intensity with it than there was in high school. So when I first came to university, it was definitely a huge struggle with that transition. But the techniques I've learned to kind of help myself read and learn and do better in school and high school kind of carried over with that transition as well. So while it was initially hard, I found, the right path for it, and it progressively got easier the more I kind of worked on it.
I feel like it all depends on your major. Honestly, when you first get here, you're taking a lot of general education courses. So, relatively speaking, those should be easier and less demanding than when you get into your major courses in your junior and senior year. So I believe that technically it gets more demanding the longer you've been here.
Coursework to me has been the same. It's always been kind of relaxed in the beginning of the semester. And then as classwork goes on, towards the end of the semester, when things start to build up, I kind of procrastinate. And so it normally gets a lot more complicated. Professors kind of, they give me a lot of deadlines ahead of time, but I normally don't really do any of them until the week or before class. In college, we have a lot of free time, so if I schedule and plan things out right, it doesn't affect it, but there's a lot of times where I'll just be sitting around and don't really need to be doing what I need to be doing until it's too late and I'm in the computer lab for hours at a time.
I think I get the grades I get partly because of me, maybe partly because of professors. Everyone learns differently, everyone teaches differently, and when you're teaching a classroom of 30, 20, even 10 people, those learning styles and teaching styles don't always match really well. So I think it's a combination of both of the professor and student, but a lot of the times it's been, for me as a student, it's been my dyslexia, it's been pure laziness, procrastinating work, or it's just been, struggling to understand the concepts that I'm being taught, or the way the professor teaches it won't be as clear. So I really think it's a combination of factors that lead into it. I think it's hard to say that one person or one thing is at fault for a bad grade or a bad learning experience. There's a lot more that goes into learning and into doing work that's required of you at a university level. So I think it's really important for people to understand that it's not just one thing that can fault them, or that they'll be at fault for, or that a professor will be at fault for. I think it really is dependent on a variety of issues and combinations of them.
I've had some teachers that were pretty tough and pretty unfair. Every teacher's different, every teacher has their own guidelines and whatnot, but I've had just one teacher, she was hard to please. Like, she would say she wants something in class, and then you do the assignment and she grades it, and then she it kind of felt like she flip-flopped, and I actually meant this, and she would ask you to express how you felt, and then when you express how you felt in the paper, she's like, oh, I want something less, subjective and more objective. So some people just, like you said, just unreasonable, hard to please. And I've had a few teachers like that, and I've had some who are really clear and square cut in what they want. They tell you what they want, and they're precise with it. And if you follow to the T what they want, then you'll do good. You'll get a good grade. Like I said, if you're dealing with a teacher who's unfair, or what they're asking for and their criteria is wishy-washy, you know, when you give them an assignment, you know, your grades are going to reflect, you know, the direction that you were given. However, if you have clear and precise directions from your teacher and you do your work on your end the way it ought to be done, with all the effort that it should be done with, I think you'll get the grade you deserve. But it all depends on the teacher, and it all depends on how well you work.
For the most part, it's me. I feel like professor helps me get where I need to be, and that's whether or not if I choose to capitalize on what he or she has provided me. A lot of times, I know with most students,